Hey everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome to another video. If you're new here, I make easy, simple, and delicious vegan recipes. I have been all about the convenience recently, so today's video is just that. I'm showing you 4 different delicious vegan meals that you can make all on a sheet pan. I love sheet pan meals because, like I just said, they're easy and convenient, and they're pretty versatile too. You just combine veggies, a protein source, some spices, and you have a well-balanced, well-rounded meal. So I guarantee you're gonna like at least one of the 4 variations I have for you today. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we'll be making some sheet pan ZA'ATAR chickpeas with roasted sweet potatoes and other miscellaneous veggies. So first we're going to season our chickpeas. I made my own chickpeas, but you could also use canned chickpeas, just dry them a little bit. We're going to add the ZA'ATAR seasoning with some salt and oil and mix until well combined. I got my ZA'ATAR seasoning blend online, but you can also probably find it in some grocery stores too, or make it yourself. So then for our veggies, we're going to mix everything directly on the sheet pan because that's how I like to roll. As you can see, we've got a spice blend. It's smoked paprika, cumin, garlic powder, and salt, and we're adding it to some onion, sweet potatoes, and red bell pepper. Then you're going to drizzle it with some olive oil. And actually, I do have a pro tip for you here. As you can see, I cut my onion super thin, which is key if you want those like jammy, caramelized, sticky onion pieces later, so it cooks and like shrivels faster in the oven. So anyways, mix your veggies, push them to the side of a pan, then we'll add the chickpeas and thin those out a little bit too, and then we'll go ahead and pop this in the oven. I like to flip it halfway, but in the meantime we'll make some easy tahini sauce, which is a great versatile topping. I'm actually going to be using it on all of these bowls. We'll start with some tahini. I like to use a nice runny tahini. I'll link my favorite in the comments below. Then we're going to add some lemon juice and salt and whisk this together first. As you can see, the tahini, once it reacts to the lemon juice, it gets really thick. And then at this point, we're going to slowly add water until the sauce thins to our liking. After you let this sit in the fridge, it will thicken a little bit too. You can also add spices, you do you. But now our veggies are done. See how the onions got nice and beautiful? And then my grocery store didn't have any pita bread, so I made some, and it's a little wonky, so don't judge me. But I served this on a pita with some sliced lettuce. And then I added my veggies and topped it all off with the crispy chickpeas. They add the perfect crunch. I also added a little bit of parsley for an extra pop of fresh flavor, and then drizzled it with the tahini sauce. This was so good and satisfying. You could also serve this over rice if you wanted to, but it was great on a pita. Next up, we're going to be making some sheet pan garlic ranch tofu with vegetables. I love ranch seasoning blends, but a lot of them aren't vegan, so I decided to make my own and put it on tofu and add some veggies so I could just, eat it as a main or whatever. So for our ranch seasoning, I already have all the spices here in a bowl. We're just going to mix those together. It's just dried dill, dried parsley, garlic powder, and onion powder. And we're going to actually be using this on both our tofu and our veggies. So I'm using extra firm tofu for this recipe. Here's how I like to cut my tofu. First, I carefully cut it in half to form 2 even blocks. And then, I don't know about you guys, I'm bad at guesstimating. So I cut each half in half again, and then I cut those halves in halves. And then for the cubes, I kind of eyeball it so we get a little bit of irregularity there, but as you can see, I just went crooked. So, it is what it is. The tofu will still taste the same in the end. And then we're going to transfer this to a large bowl. And then to make it nice and crispy, we'll also add some oil and toss this first until the tofu is well combined. And then for our seasonings, we're going to use some of that ranch seasoning mix plus some nutritional yeast, which helps to crisp up the tofu even more and gives it almost a sort of cheesy flavor. Since ranch seasoning usually does have like buttermilk powder into it, I find that this makes the ranch transformation complete. Chef's kiss. All right, now for our veggies again, we've got cauliflower, potatoes, bell pepper, and optional jalapenos if you like a little extra kick. Toss on that leftover ranch seasoning with some salt, and then again we're going to drizzle generously with olive oil. I really love this combination of veggies with ranch seasoning. I feel like the cauliflower is nice and hearty, the potatoes are kind of creamy, the bell peppers add color and fresh flavor, and jalapeno ranch, like what's not to love about that? So we're gonna push those to the side and then add our tofu to the same tray, and then just spread it out so none of the cubes are touching too much and there's a little bit of space between everything. So now we are again going to bake this in the oven, flipping halfway, and this is what it looks like once it's fully cooked. The veggies have some brown edges, and then for this time I just decided to serve it over some rice. So first we're going to to add our roasted veggies, and then we'll go in with our tofu. I also think this would be excellent with pita bread or like a wrap or a burrito. That would also be amazing. And then I topped it with that same tahini sauce that I just made in the previous recipe. And if you have some fresh herbs on hand, this is also great with fresh dill or parsley. Next up, we are making asparagus mushroom nourish bowls with crispy garlic herb tofu. So I actually came across this veggie combination sort of on accident. I made like a throw together meal, but actually we're talking about the tofu first. So as you can see, we're gonna cut the tofu the exact same way, deja vu, you know, coat it with oil. It's a great base, you know, you can't go wrong with something that already worked. But this time we're going to switch up our seasonings a little bit. We'll be using nutritional yeast again, but this time we'll be using salt, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning instead of a homemade ranch seasoning blend. So you can go ahead and add all that to your tofu and then just toss it until it's well combined. And with this recipe, the veggies actually take up a lot of space. So we are going to cook our tofu on a separate baking tray. I just put it on a smaller baking tray and again, spread it out so there was a good amount of space between each cube, and then set this aside while we work on our veggies. So like I said, this veggie combo may seem strange, but trust me, it actually works super well. So we've got some cremini mushrooms, which add some hardiness, asparagus because it's in season, has a nice fresh bite, and then fennel, which may sound odd, but the sweetness and earthiness from the fennel pairs so well with the asparagus. It's something that I wouldn't have thought to do, but after I've done it, I am hooked. And then I also like to add some onion because it sort of complements the fennel well, and you know, you can't go wrong with onion and garlic. So we're going to add all this to our sheet pan, and I love the flavors of all of these together. So I didn't add any seasonings to this. I just added oil, salt, and pepper. I felt that was perfect on its own, but if you wanted to, you could also add some of your favorite spices, you know, make it your own. So we're going to give everything a good toss, and as you can see, they definitely take up most of my large sheet pan, which is why I wanted to cook the tofu separately so it didn't get soggy. So this is what everything looks like once it's done cooking, and then it's time to assemble. Again, we're sticking with the brown rice theme here, but you know that you have permission to be as creative as you want and serve this in whatever manner you want as well. Plop on those roasted veggies, add that tofu with the crispy edges, and then again, I'm a creature of habit, so I'm going to toss it with some tahini sauce here. You could also top it with fresh herbs, or fun fact, save the fronds of your fennel. It actually tastes like kind of like dill, kind of licoricey, if you want a nice zero waste hack. But either way, this is super hearty and delicious. And last but not least, we're going to the Southwest to make some sheet pan fajitas. This Tex-Mex inspired recipe is packed with colorful veggies, and I love it for a quick and easy dinner. So first you're gonna start by chopping your veggies. I'm using cremini mushrooms because the big portobello ones are unnecessarily expensive and we're chopping them anyways. And then we've also got some nice bell peppers going on. You don't have to use one of every color. You can use whatever you have on hand. And then again, I love to add jalapenos, but if you're sensitive to heat, don't worry about it. Then we're making our own sort of fajita seasoning. I will link the blog post below so you can get the exact measurements for that. But we're going to add all of our veggies to our tray, plus some super firm tofu that has been cubed, and then we're going to spread them all out a little bit first. I just find that this makes it easier to mix them and to coat them more evenly with seasoning, which as you can see, I am adding here. And then all that's left to do is drizzle with oil and mix well. I am using super firm tofu for this recipe, like I said, which is the vacuum sealed one, and it doesn't break apart easily. You could also try this with extra firm tofu. I'd just be a little bit more careful and make sure you're gently mixing so it doesn't break apart or anything. But once your veggies are evenly mixed, we're going to go ahead and pop this in the oven. Again, stirring / flipping the veggies about halfway. And this is what it looks like once it's done. The tofu gets nice and crispy, the veggies are tender, and the mushrooms are just divine. So to seal the deal here, we're drizzling on some lime juice on top. And I also like to put on some fresh cilantro if that's your thing. I love cilantro. I know some people don't like it, but more for me, in my opinion. So I am making some tacos. I warmed up some corn tortillas. You could also use flour tortillas or make this into more of a burrito bowl situation if you want to, and serve them however you like, but they're super hearty, delicious, packed with protein, and yummy. All right, friends, and that's it for this video. Leave a comment down below and tell me which one of these recipes you're most excited to make. And if you have any recipe requests for future videos, let me know in the comments down below too. And while you're there, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to see even more of my delicious content, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok 2, me and my sheet pan have other things to do, so we won't take up too much more of your time. I just hope you're having a wonderful day and continue to have one, and I look forward to virtually seeing you again soon somewhere on the internet. Okay, bye.